Before we begin with this incredible video, I would like to briefly review two major parts of the channel. The first is the coffee shop members. These are fellow content creators that have joined forces with me to create amazing content. Please check them out and support them. Collabs will be happening on their channels and mine throughout the next few weeks, and will likely remain that way for the near future. The second part is my membership deals. For my servers, talking to me, other members, versus battle, game prizes, and more, plus being on the outro for the Wall of Villains that's coming soon, you can join now for only $5 a month via Cash App. Simply comment down below if you want the Cash App discount membership. Thank you all, and without further ado, let's get back to the video. Now, initially, this video was supposed to be Batman vs. Captain America. I felt more compelled to explore this matchup first. That does not mean that Batman vs. Cap the Truth won't happen. It just means that stylistically, Cap and Deathstroke appealed to me a bit more. Of course, as I explained in Darkseid vs. Thanos, this could go two ways. One, I determined this classic matchup stylistically actually does not make sense and just get on with the video, go over the few points and end it. Or two, I determined it is a good matchup and proceed with the detailed battle. I will quickly explain why this matchup pops to me, then I will explain the battle breakdown process. 1. Pinnacle. Both are considered to be the best physical specimens that mankind can produce at its peak. 2. Iconic. Both are legends in their fields. One is the assassin and mercenary. The other is the captain and avenger. 3. Service. Both became who they are, for better or worse, because of events that took place during their military service. 4. Skill. Both are characters who pride themselves on reputation in their craft. This means competing to be the most skilled in their fields. And 5. Aim high. Both are notorious for taking down beings that on paper are way above their weight class. With those 5 immediate reasons covered, let's go ahead and discuss the breakdown. Each character will have their own section. These sections will include a brief bio and origin. Then, 10 sections will be discussed, with 100 possible points being awarded total. Winners of each category get a point per win, with 10 points total possible. If at the end, points do not determine a clear winner, I will go on to weigh in more personally, likely breaking down the margin of victory per section. This will be standard 616 Captain America, with equipment he can usually be found carrying. Deathstroke will be from Rebirth, as his different versions usually come armed differently. If you want different versions, like New 52 Deathstroke or Ultimate's Cap, get this video to 400 likes. But, with that out the way, sit back, relax, and enjoy this complete breakdown of 616 Captain America vs. Rebirth Deathstroke. Captain America's origins. Steve Rogers was born physically weak and vulnerable. However, while born with a weak physical frame, his intangibles and heart was undeniable. Such a strive for service to his country and iron-like willpower led Rogers to become a test subject. This test, of course, was to birth the perfect super soldier. Given the super soldier serum, Rogers was transformed in every way except in spirit. Remaining with that flawless courage was now a flawless human specimen. This was history's greatest soldier, Captain America. With his newfound body and abilities, Cap quickly became a devastating American asset on the battlefield. Eventually, a mission saw Cap end up frozen in ice, the super soldier stuck frozen in history. Decades would pass, and heroes in the future found and thawed out Cap. Soon enough, Cap was back in the field, serving with teams like the Avengers in order to keep Earth safe from all threats. A man with a code, Cap abides by his moral compass and uncompromising ethics in order to conduct himself, becoming a feared foe for all beings, as Cap will stop at nothing to see justice is properly served. Let's go over strength. Given the serum and his countless time training and practical experience, Cap has had plenty of opportunities to showcase his strength in combat. While yes, gem numbers are cool, bench press does not really indicate the practical strength that you can use in combat. Like Batman, Spider-Man, and many other supposed street tiers, Cap's striking strength is far superior to his superhuman lifting strength. Even right out of the gate, Cap was forced to display his incredible strength when engaging the Avengers in combat. This occurred due to them believing Cap was a dangerous imposter. Despite just thawing out after decades in ice, Cap threw back the Avengers. He kicked away Giant Man and knocked back characters like Iron Man. This capability as a striker should be normal for Cap, as the Avengers were then convinced it was the real Cap who was engaging them. Cap's techniques and skill make his striking much more deadly than without it. Against Asgardian assassin teams, Cap's kicks were capable of subduing them, and his punches even drew blood. Cap's held off the likes of Namor, even when forced to engage the Prince underwater, whereas Namor is significantly amped. He has ragdolled Spider-Man with strikes and beat Batroc up pretty easily. Batroc is a character who's capable of battling metahumans. Against Iron Fist, Cap was shown to be the physically more daunting striker even compared to Iron Fist. Iron Fist's normal strikes can punish even beings like Sabretooth. I would say with all the evidence in display, Cap is easily Spider-Man tiers of strength. However, where Spider-Man may have a little bit more strength in raw power, I believe Cap hits harder. This is due to his perfected striking form maximizing his potential striking power. Now, Cap also has more potency in striking consistently when accounting for his shield strikes. The vibranium blended shield is dangerous in the hands of Cap, as strikes from the shield have rocked Hulk, Thor, Thor clones, Donald Blake Thor, Doombots, and many more. The overpowered metal, its energy properties, and his technique makes his strikes with the shield massively stronger than his base strikes. We have even seen in simulations, Cap's shield thrown by a worse thrower than Cap could one-shot Wolverine. Let's look at speed. Another category blessed by the serum, Cap's speed in combat is no joke. Ever since gracing the battlefield back in the day, bullets and humans were fodder to Cap. This is due to perception and speed, as they simply move much slower to his perception. This enhanced ocular ability improves his speed that much more. His metahuman agility has been showcased when he was able to hold off a Black Panther assault, when Panther conceded Cap did not even want to fight him. Cap dodges lasers and light-based attacks on thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of occasions. This includes training, where Cap utilizes lasers a lot to improve his reaction time. Cap's reaction time is incredible and allows him to pull off blazing fast shield throws. This includes using his shield to intercept the lightning blast of Thor, which we have seen tag Herald tiers countless times. Cap's also able to dance around Hercules. On top of his godly status, Herc is one of the most skilled melee fighters in creation. The fact even Hercules struggles to get his hands on Cap is incredible. With his amps and perception and training, Cap is not one to take lightly in terms of speed. I'd like to start this section off with a quote from a pal of mine from the member server Barcode. Barcode is an avid Cap reader and loves assessing his character. In an attempt to help best explain Cap's physical gifts, I believe Barcode did an excellent job breaking down the peak human idea. The serum was responsible for enhancing Steve Rogers, there's no doubt about that. What he became immediately afterwards was human without physical barriers. Steve's body wasn't gated by natural restraints or ailment. It's been illustrated many times he needed to find his footing in this new shell he was in. So while yes, Cap's believed peak human, he really is just what they believe him to be. What he truly is a man that continues to grow and expand in all fields. His potential does not seem inhibited by being human. Still, the growth isn't infinite or anything, which is why Cap isn't some massively higher tier. Still, the lack of barriers explains his consistency and his almost trackable maturation as a combatant throughout his time. With that brief explanation on why his physicality is so wild, Cap's durability needs to be broken down in a few areas. One is his base durability. What can Cap take without any sort of suit or armor? Next, what is he like with his suit on? How much more protection does that provide? Lastly, we will observe the durability of his shield. Step 1, base. Thanks to the serum, Cap is allowed superhuman physical durability. This includes tanking falls from planes without parachutes and being within city levels of nuclear radiation without any ill effects. Cap, at worst, can be scaled to 10 men in base physicals like durability, per observations of experts. Still, he's also taken hits from beings 10 times his own serum amp, and he was relatively fine. Cap has telepathic resistance and can use willpower to ignore injuries. He also has a semi-decent healing factor, which mostly is built around him recovering much faster compared to humans. His blunt force resistance is massively beyond normal Marvel humans even in base, but his resistance to piercing attacks is not great. A strong bullet placed properly on an unshielded, unsuited Cap could be potentially disaster. Step 2, with the suit. Luckily for Cap, and not really discussed among common readers, Cap's suit is actually very helpful in amping the durability of Cap. His helmet has deflected point-blank laser blasts, allowing him to fight on freely with no ill effects. Electric and energy blasts are dampened by the suit. This is best displayed when facing Gambit. A desperate Gambit supercharged the suit of Captain America directly. Keep in mind, regular Gambit blasts alone can rock Deadpool. This blast ripped open the torso of Cap's suit, but Cap was able to walk through the blast. This shows the underrated defenses provided by the suit. The suit also provides tech to neg hypnotic-based attacks and illusions. Step 3, the shield. The shield of Captain America is one of the most iconic weapons in Marvel and all of comics. The vibranium alloy shield is made with some of the strongest materials in the universe. This metal also works to counteract energy when it comes into contact. This shield has been able to stand up to the following: lasers, bombs, nukes levels of energy. Nuke the Mutant, Mjolnir, strikes from enraged Thor, Hulk, Onslaught, Namor underwater, Hellfire, and much more. Breaking or compromising the shield of Captain America is considered a groundbreaking moment in the verse. Let's look at stamina. This section will be brief for both, as it mostly just pertains to how long can they fight. Thanks to the serum, Cap no longer feels fatigue. This allows him to push on through insane punishment and even perform perfectly with no sleep. Cap's been time displaced and engaged in over 1,000 years of combat without giving up or wearing down to the point of quit. Mentally, he's powered through hexes and magic, demonic assaults, illusions, and even mental overloads. This includes having to absorb all knowledge of human history and continue functioning. Essentially, Cap is fully capable of going until he drops dead. Intangibles. This more so covers the toughness, mentally, and heart of the characters, as well as willpower. Cap has unbreakable will to the point that even gods beyond space and time admire the discipline and courage of Cap. His willpower allows him to pull off wild feats such as commanding the Infinity Gauntlet. His toughness is comparable to anyone on the Avengers, as Cap never backs down and is quick to step even to the gods. Intangibles for Cap should never be in doubt. Now, let's go over the combat sections. Hand-to-hand combat being the first one. Captain America is one of the most criminally disrespected martial artists in comic book history. For whatever reason, weenies on the web have deemed him a talented Western boxer. Essentially, he might be passable for the UFC, according to them. However, this is obviously disgusting downplay. Captain America has regularly contended with the most skilled beings in creation. On top of memorizing every tactic and style in human history based on supercomputer download, Cap has mastered all the martial arts on Earth. Some of the ones to be skeptical of may include Kunlun styles and Wakandan arts, but I have a respectful counter offer for that. On multiple occasions, it is noted Cap masters new techniques and forms in mere moments after seeing and learning them. With his multiple encounters with the likes of Iron Fist and Black Panther, I have no reason to doubt that Cap picked up on the best of their styles as well. Cap also routinely spars with god-tier martial artists like Shang-Chi, and he has bested a man in unarmed combat who was stated to know every fighting style ever. Cap has also perfected unique forms like combat gymnastics to best suit his gifts. Essentially, Cap has an argument for maybe the most gifted hand-to-hand fighter in his own verse. Weapon skill. Now, this is an interesting section to discuss, specifically because of what is most likely to be applicable. You see, Cap does not indeed have a high level of weapon skill at his disposal, but he has learned a lot. What I mean by this is that he spent time mastering concepts like sword fighting and marksmanship, as not only is it useful, but it preps him for opponents who use these kind of items. What matters most on alternative weapon skill is that Cap is familiar with most weaponry throughout the universe by now. This allows him to adapt to weapons on the spot in combat. Of course, though, he doesn't use a diverse range of weapons, so how much of that skill is he using in combat? Not that much. In terms of weapon skill that matters most, of course we must discuss his shield skill. This is most essential, as it is his primary tool of war. The shield skill Cap possesses is quite literally unmatched. Even Taskmaster, who can photocopy any style, does not phase Cap when it comes to shield work. The properties of the shield allow it to defy physics in its course of projection in combat. Despite literally not playing by boundaries, Cap has fully mastered all types of combos possible using this shield. It is to the point that Cap feels it is truly just another limb. Yes, his mastery of several weapons is impressive, but his godly shield skill is what makes Captain America a force in this department. Let's look at tactics. Cap has a reputation as one of the best leaders in fiction. This leadership is on the battlefield, people. Obviously, to match the rep, Cap has to be top tier in combat IQ winning these battles. This, of course, is true. Cap has trained the likes of Nick Fury and Punisher in combat strategy and tactics. Both Punisher and Wolverine have remarked that Captain America sits on his own pedestal when it comes to prowess as a soldier. Cap's quick wit and experience allows him to immediately set about making moves on the field to help secure the win. He can come up with tactics to thwart villains with superior tech, numbers, powers, or all three. With his brain and courage, Cap not only knows how to make the right moves and when to use them in the fight, but he has the confidence enough to execute them properly. We have even seen Cap outplay villains who literally can use time travel to try and outplay him. On top of this, even the God of Tricks Loki has been deceived by Cap in combat. On the battlefield, Cap is confident he can outwit anyone. Let's look at adaptability. Adaptability addresses the consistency of the mental approach of the fighters when new, unforeseen obstacles arrive in battle. How well do they perform? Cap, despite his obsession with training and planning, is not oblivious to the likelihood of plans falling through. That is natural as combat and people are unpredictable. However, to best address this factor, Cap responds by constantly training and using simulations. This allows him to foresee practically all potential outcomes in fights, as thousands of times he's drilled these similar scenarios. The repetition allows Cap to feel comfortable when faced with new factors. This is best described when Cap stated that he does not need to prep specifically for certain missions. His training and experience will give him an answer right on the spot. Finally, gear and loadout. This final category for the captain, and for it, we're going to go over his gear and loadout because it's not that sophisticated to cover. First, as I explained, he has the serum enhanced physicals. He has his suit that he wears in battle, which can deflect energy blasts and is extremely durable to blunt force. He has illusion and hypnotism resistance gear. He has magnets. He has hacking tech in his shield. He has his vibranium alloy shield. He has his goggles and other detective tech for field work as a soldier. He has what he considers to basically be a sixth sense. He has invaluable courage and spirit, and before even the bigger runs, was credited with over 1,800 combative wins with a win percentage near 80%. Captain America is the symbol of hope and freedom for America, and one of the most feared battlefield commanders, regardless of power or cosmic status. Now, let's move on to the other character in this battle, Deathstroke. Specifically, let's start with his origins and information. At the age of 16, Slade Wilson lied about his age in order to enlist in the Army. A physically and mentally impressive youth, Slade progressed rapidly, and eventually the young soldier would answer the call to undergo a process called Project X. Of course, this was a super soldier effort to enhance his physicals, mental capacity, and his healing. As a result, Slade became an absolute killing machine, combining enhanced physicals with superior training. Eventually, Slade would leave the military and take up the mantle as the world's most famous mercenary and hired gun, Deathstroke the Terminator. His actions would cost him those he loved the most, and even his wife put a bullet in the back of his head, leaving him permanently scarred. The legend of Deathstroke quickly grew, and missions soon had him crossing paths with iconic heroes like Batman. His time in the field saw him serving with villains and heroes alike, depending on the price. With his skill, commitment to the game, and an unwavering confidence in himself, Deathstroke has rightly earned the rep as one of the scariest assassins in DC Comics. First up, strength. Even before Project X, teenage Slade was able to toss around highly trained soldiers twice his age like it was nothing. Already quite the athlete and soldier, the strength drastically increased once Project X was done. Slade has metahuman strength, which allows him to pull off some impressive striking feats. Against Batman with power gauntlets punched Slade in the face, and this was base Slade at the same time as Slade punched him. Both punches seemed to do similar damage, which shows just how hard Deathstroke swings, as that was an amped Batman punch. Slade also easily takes on other members of the Bat family like Dick Grayson, casually holding his own and damaging them with strikes. Slade also easily matches strikes with one arm against the duelist who overwhelmed Damian Wayne in a duel. While Damian is a Robin, he was able to duel Batman and Ra's al Ghul pretty well, so for him to be handled in a duel is impressive. In times of intense situations, Deathstroke has managed to knock back or create separation against characters like Superman and Solomon Grundy, with his well-placed strikes helping aid his potency. I believe Deathstroke hits harder than Batman when he feels like it. It really depends on who Deathstroke is fighting and what his endgame is, but when actually swinging, Deathstroke casually overwhelms multiple massive lions like toys, knocks back Grundy, rocks Batman with an overhand, and can fight off with other members of the Teen Titans, and can also tear apart metahuman alien fighters. Let's look at speed. I admit, I fully slept on the agility of Deathstroke prior to reading up more on his runs. Besides his mental enhancement, one of the biggest talked about aspects of Slade's improvements in the comics is his agility and combative speed. Slade's suit itself does not even operate without the speed of a metahuman user. Thus, Slade is casually metahuman in speed as he wears and uses it constantly in combat. With precog and a sharpened battle sense and reflexes, Slade's a daunting target to try to tag in combat. World-renowned marksmen like Deadshot have struggled finding ways to tag and even put down Deathstroke. Slade's casually bopped on speedsters before, combining unreal reflexes with precise timing on placed counters. Light-based beings like Electrocutioner and speedsters like Wally West, Slade has been shown to be able to deal with. For minutes, Slade was quick enough to evade a Superman who was looking to stop Slade from pulling off an assassination. Overall, the reflexes and combative speed of Deathstroke are lethal and allow him to stay in almost any fight. Let's look at durability. Similar to how I had to do the cap section on durability, I believe Deathstroke needs to have the durability broken down on several layers. First is base durability. Second is what can he take in his icon suit. Finally, what can his icon projected shield take? For one, Project X boosted Slade's durability massively and gave him a respectable healing factor. Slade without a helmet was able to take a punch from an annoyed Superman and only get KO'd. He easily tangled with Batman with no helmet on and got up after having his skull fractured by power gauntlets. Like Cap, he is susceptible to piercing attacks with no armor, but everything else Slade is incredibly tough to and will likely soon bounce back from. Best evidence of this is when he took a hit from a girl that casually presses tanks, and Slade was in his damn PJs. In his icon suit, Slade can take an absurd amount of damage. 2 point-blank assault rifle blasts to the chest to a depowered icon suit only serve to kind of annoy Deathstroke and power up his suit. Energy that strikes from the suit occur helps amps it and Deathstroke in turn, which actually helps it turn stuff like bullets to complete fodder and makes impacts like that fodder to the charged suit. It also can take blasts from beings like Electrocutioner, and Slade survived with no issue. Yes, characters like Superman when actually trying can simply one-punch it, but still, the suit is quite durable even when low on power and makes for a tricky obstacle to get around for opponents. Slade also has nanotech that his son later got for his own suit. This tech can work to repair his suit when it is damaged. Finally, the projected icon shield. This shield can be thrown up to stop and potentially prevent incoming hostile energy. This was best shown when the shield was projected outside his suit during his first bout with Superman. On top of stopping Superman's strikes, when it reached 60 kgs of force with each strike, the shield reverted that energy back upon its assailant. This means in long-term, high-power assaults, Slade can let you basically hit him and just sit there, tank it, and reverse Uno the energy back on you. This shield gets stronger with absorbed energy, but it does have a limit and can be overwhelmed. Next up, stamina. Thanks to training and Project X, Deathstroke seems to have nearly limitless stamina. We have seen Slade engage in wars against entire platoons and waves of metahuman alien armies. During these engagements, Slade seems perfectly fine fatigue-wise as he led the charge in the slaughter. He has the stamina to do things such as go on missions and return to train characters like Ravager to be so elite they can combat and best opponents like Nightwing. A lot of his advanced stamina may also be attributed to his healing factor. Deathstroke should be able to recover massively faster than normal fighters. Intangibles. Perhaps one of the scariest intangibles that Deathstroke brings to the table is his trickery and his ability to juggle multiple angles in a battle. As expressed by one of the authors of his run, Slade is easily the equal to Batman in tactics and ingenuity in combat. He also uses his multiple plans occurring at once. His willpower is impressive to the point that he can suppress emotions and even endanger the lives of his own kids for the sake of the W. The will to win in dirty avenues Slade is willing to take makes him tough to take out. One has to consider a multitude of different scenarios when engaging Slade in a fight. Next, we're going to go over the categories in combat. First up, hand-to-hand combat. Before he was even old enough to drink, was one of the most decorated soldiers in history. His training in the Special Forces has granted him exceptional training, including in the martial arts. Slade specialized in deadlier forms of hand-to-hand, as his fields of work always preferred quick, clean kills. On top of being a top-notch Special Forces fighter, Project X in his evolved mind allowed Slade to learn ways more as a fighter. He easily became a skill rival in hand-to-hand to Batman. A weakened, damaged Deathstroke can still swap hands with the Gotham Knight. I'd say Slade is around Batman's level as a martial artist, and with good reason. Slade does not even like to engage Batman. When he does so hoping he does not have to approach the fight in a manner that would kill someone like Batman, who Slade respects. I believe this impacts the approach Slade takes to most fights with Batman. With so many of his techniques made to cripple and kill, he likely does not even use them against Batman. As a result, declaring relatively based on that, the author, his Spec Ops, Merc record, and his engagements with Batman, I believe Deathstroke is incredibly dangerous as a hand-to-hand combatant. Next up, weapon skill. Considering the occupations he has held over the years, it should come as no surprise that Slade Wilson is lethal when it comes to weaponry skill. In high school, Slade was an elite duelist in his high school fencing team. This base for his dueling prowess is strong enough that Deathstroke has easily dueled on par with a fighter who bested Damian Wayne. Wayne has trained since childhood as a swordsman with the League of Assassins. On top of his elite work with the sword, Slade is also a talented duelist with his staff. This staff can KO metahumans, and the plasma blast it exerts can catch foes off guard, even Superman. Slade is also possibly the most slept-on marksman in DC. Almost every time they air it out, Deathstroke matches Deadshot, shot for shot. The fact he can easily match top-tier skill guys in their specific fields of expertise shows how formidable of a weapons expert Slade really is. Let's look at tactics. Deathstroke is known to be one of the top-tier tacticians in the verse, especially when he is given time to prepare prior to engagement. Deathstroke was a premier Spec Ops soldier when he served, and he pulled off the most elite missions casually and cleanly. His evolved mind allows him to vastly outthink normal human adversaries. Typically, Deathstroke is portrayed as either Batman's equal in tactics or even better. I would say slightly superior, given Deathstroke has the liberty of lethal weapons and tactics. His author also explained that Deathstroke typically deploys 2 or 3 options to deal with just one foe. So, when dealing with Deathstroke, it is important to remember that he will likely already have 2 or 3 moves in play to counter your first one. Let's look at adaptability. With his time as a commando and as the world's most feared hired gun, Slade has plenty of experience in situations where his initial stance has been compromised. Luckily, his instinct and evolved mind allows Slade to adjust accordingly. Against Batman, Slade went in giving up his back and allowing Batman to get the drop on him. He was fully confident he could outwit the world's greatest detective from a weaker stance. In clashes with the Bat family and other high-tier intellects, Deathstroke easily handles them in tactical games. In intense wartime scuffles, Slade identifies the weak points in the opposition and leads the charge. Slade is efficient and flexible, pressing the point while remaining patient enough to adjust when properly needed. Finally, gear and loadout. He has his amps from Project X, specifically the evolved mind, which allowed his physicality to vastly catch up and surpass other peak humans. Next is his Icon suit, a suit that was actually improved on later. This suit can absorb energy, deflect blasts, and deflect bullets like it's complete fodder. He also has his Promethean blade, which can absorb energy, including energy from kryptonite laser eye vision, and can cut the suit of Superman, which we've seen casually stand up to blades and other blasts before, no problem. He has machine guns and pistols to utilize his skill as a marksman. He has the Icon shield, which projects outside of the suit itself and can withstand punches from an annoyed Superman. He has detective gear and sensory equipment. He has controlled explosives to change the course of the battlefield. He has a staff with plasma shot projections. He has knives and other minor weapons of assortment. He has his precog, and he has minor telepathy from an evolved mind. So, thank you guys for sitting here and listening to the breakdowns of both characters. I hope you enjoyed it, but now we have to break down and go over the verdict and declare winners for each category. First category, strength. Edge to Cap. Both have similar striking strength in base and in suits, but Cap's shield hits much harder than Deathstroke's sword swings or staff strikes. Cap gets a decent edge in strength. Speed. Edge to Deathstroke. Deathstroke, in my opinion, was more so shown to be emphasized as damn near speedster in combative speed application on multiple occasions. While Cap can certainly compete, I do feel as if the speed of Deathstroke is more emphasized. Slight edge to Deathstroke. Durability. Edge to Deathstroke. This one was interesting to go through. Base to base, similar toughness, with Slade having maybe a little better of a healing factor. Suit to suit, Cap's is underrated, but Slade's is still better. Cap shield to icon shield, Cap shield slaps, but his shield can be taken from him. Because Slade takes 2 of the 3 and is less of a risk to gamble on for durability, I give a comfortable edge to Deathstroke for durability. Stamina, edge to Cap. I was not sure who would take this category prior to research. However, I found the gas tank to be more trustworthy for Cap. Cap's demonstrated engaging in combat across dimensions for over 1,000 years. Quit is not possible for him, and his body does not produce fatigue like usual. Deathstroke can go all day, but we know for sure Cap will go all day. Slight edge to Cap. Intangibles. Edge to Cap. To me, this is a category I feel is less quantifiable than the others, so it is pretty fun to discuss. But for my preference, as a guy doing the battle, I favor the mix of courage, will, and iron-tight confidence for Cap compared to the cunning, ruthlessness, and lethal mentality and heart of Slade. Slade is tough, no doubt, but Cap's toughness is admired by gods. To me, the intangibles of Cap far more pop out, and thus I give him the edge in this category. For the physical profile and mindset of the fighters done, Captain America took 3 out of 5 possible points. Deathstroke took 2 out of 5. Let's go over the combat section. Hand to hand, edge to Cap. Cap's mastered all techniques and styles passed down through human history. He has trained endlessly in forms to master himself as a fighter. Cap's regularly shown really pressing the top martial artists in his verse, whereas Slade to me is just an incredibly dangerous melee fighter, but it's more to get the job done. A comparison I would make for Deathstroke would be like Frank Castle. Castle is a special talent in hand-to-hand martial arts and is a lethal fighter with a background in Spec Ops. Slade's the same way, maybe even a little better. But regardless, Cap has all of that, plus he is a pure martial artist. He also can learn styles and forms in just moments. In the end, for hand-to-hand, I give the edge to Cap. Weapon skill, edge to Deathstroke. Now, I have no doubt about 2 things concerning Cap. For one, he has the best and is the best with a specific weapon between the 2 of them, in reference to his shield. However, Slade regularly employs a more versatile arsenal in the field. On top of this, Slade's a top-tier duelist and has arguments for best marksman. Cap likely could pick up Deathstroke's sword and catch up to him in style and form fast, but there would be a slight gap. I do think Slade's more practiced in variety, and this gives him a slight edge here. Slade gets the edge for weapon skill. Next up, tactics. Edge to Deathstroke. Both Cap and Deathstroke are some of the most respected tactical minds in their verses, but Deathstroke is consistently portrayed between the 2 as more of a planner. This is not to say that Cap does not plan, because that is not true. However, Slade usually deploys multiple plans during a battle. Cap is more reactionary based on his training and knowledge. Slight edge in tactics to Deathstroke. Let's look at adaptability. I give the edge to Captain America. I briefly touched on this in the prior category. Captain America is the king of adapting mid-combat. He is the prime example of planning is everything, but plans are useless. Yes, Slade's very adaptable, but his is more aligned with prep. Cap lives for the moment because he prepared so hard for it. Slight edge to Cap. Finally, gear and loadout. Edge to Deathstroke. This category was a bit interesting to consider. To me, Cap has the best weapon or gear here in the form of his shield. However, Slade has a nasty bag of tricks. With his skill and ruthlessness, the sword, guns, staffs, and much more, in the hands of Slade, this is too versatile to ignore. Edge to Deathstroke. In the combat breakdown section, Deathstroke came away with 3 out of 5 possible points. Captain America came away with 2 out of 5. The score is tied 5-5. So who wins? Of course, this long ass video is one of my hardest verdicts I've ever had to do. So to further decide this, I will consider this ruling by comparing gaps and sections. Who takes it by a better margin in each one? Well, in that aspect, I compared gaps on a scale of 1 to 3. With that being the bonus, Cap came away with an 8-6 narrow margin. The sections of strength, hand-to-hand, and intangibles helped Cap. What kept Slade so dangerous was his gear loadout and his skill as a marksman. However, in the long game, I favor Cap in his gas tank. He has gotten around Panther's suit and other energy-negging suits before, and he would do so here again, albeit with the highest of difficulty. Captain America is the victor. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Like I said, this is one of the hardest matchups I've done. Very fun to do. It's very fun to research. Shout out to everybody that helped me gather all the Deathstroke work, all the members of the coffee shop. And overall, thank you guys for supporting my channel. We are approaching 10K rapidly, and I am enjoying the process. Have a fun July 4th. It's been your boy, YFE, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.